Nervousness and anxiety, probably the overwhelming feelings that you're feeling as your interview approaches. But the thing is, these are natural responses. Lots of other people will feel that way. And as I said, the natural responses from the point of view that our brains are actually wired to trigger these feelings as a defense mechanism for things that are unfamiliar to us, so that we approach those situations with caution and trepidation. But when it comes to an interview scenario, the last thing you want is to have those feelings, because it forces you to really go in there with the handbrake on, and I suppose it impedes your ability to ask and answer questions effectively and can it reflect in your body language. So the great thing is it is possible to manage those feelings so that you can, in a way, change the feelings, change the emotion to one of excitement even. And in fact, excitement and anxiety and nervousness are closely related cousins. It's just they play out in different ways. And obviously the feeling of excitement will probably reflect in your body language. And in the same way, if you don't prepare, you will always have those feelings of anxiety, because again, you'll be going into a situation that's unknown and unfamiliar to you. And that's why I wanted to share with you in this video a high level overview of the structure of an interview. But bear in mind that not every interview is going to follow the same structure, so you have to prepare for each interview on a case-by-case basis. By me sharing this with you, it will just help you to understand what's going on in the process and how you can actually add value to the overall process. So each line manager or interviewer should begin with their own preparation, and that might mean looking at CV, looking at your resume, looking at your social media profiles, looking at the job description and person specification, just to recap themselves on the details of the job. So equally, you should have done your own preparation so you can answer questions accurately and succinctly about each of those different areas. And once all the preparation is out of the way, the interviewer, the line manager, will be ready to come and meet you. So you also need to be ready to meet them and receive them. Don't be on your phone. Don't, get rid of all distractions, and just be ready to meet them when they come and see you. So now the interactive phase of your interview has now begun, because the line manager, the interviewer, will be trying to really hold a conversation with you to build that rapport, hopefully trying to make you feel relaxed. So you need to be receptive to that, because even though you're on your way to the interview room itself, the onus is still on you to be receptive and to respond to any questions and to just really try to hold a conversation until the formal or the main interview begins. The next key building block in the interview structure is obviously where, hopefully by now, you're sat down in the interview room with the interviewers, and they hopefully will explain to you the format and timings of the interview. And do listen to this, because it's important in the sense that you can manage your own time in terms of how you respond to questions, but also to respect the time as well that the interviewer has allocated to the interview, so you don't overrun. Once the timings and format have been explained, you'll be about ready to start the main question and answer session. You'll probably notice that the interviewer is going to be taking notes, so make sure that you're articulating yourself clearly and structuring your answers so that it's easy for them to write down any responses that you have. And although the interview will be asking you questions, don't be afraid to follow up with your own questions if you have a burning question that needs to be asked. Most interviewers worth their salt will allocate a specific time during the interview to allow you to ask questions, and that's normally towards the end of an interview. I'm an advocate, though, of, as I mentioned before, asking questions throughout the interview and gathering your own insights in order for you to then close the interview at the end. But as I said, this part of the process now is where the interviewer should be inviting questions from you. If they don't invite questions, then if I were you, would ask them if it is okay, or if you have time to ask a few questions. So once you've indicated that you've asked all your questions, the interview will begin to wind things down. You'll notice probably from their body language, they might start to gather up their papers. This is probably indicative that they're nearly ready to finish up. And this is your opportunity really now to really close things off and use all the insight that you've gathered to ascertain that you're the right person for the role, and obviously ask them what the next steps are. then the onus really is on the interviewer to really tell you what the next steps are, what's going to happen next. If they don't, for whatever reason, because some interviewers are quite inexperienced and probably are not used to the etiquettes of interviewing, then it's up to you then to be proactive and ask what the next steps are. This is so you can actually manage your own expectations, and really, when you go to your other interviews, you're able to communicate, where you are in other processes. Congratulations, you've reached the closing stage of the interview, where the interviewer will hopefully thank you for coming, thank you for your time, and you in return thank them for their time as well. They will hopefully escort you back to the lift or wherever it is you came from to show you on the way out. And obviously, again, a little bit more rapport building will be going on, small talk, conversations. But remember that you're still being assessed at that time, so don't for any minute let your guard down. Now that the interview is over, it's not time to relax by any means. The interviewers will convene and make their notes. They'll make their judgments and compare notes if there's more than one of them present. But now it's time for you, within 24 hours of leaving the building, to send them a thank you email which reiterates how much you like the job, how much you enjoyed meeting them and thanking them for their time, and telling them how much you feel that the role is for you, if that is the case. And there you have it, a high-level representation of the structure of an interview from start to finish. Now that you've got this structure, I would use it to begin to prepare for each part of the interview. And I hope it will help you to prepare so that you can get rid of some of the nerves that you're feeling ahead of the big day. If you've got an interview coming up and you need some help to prepare, or if you want to test yourself in a mock interview environment and want to know how to answer questions and what questions to ask, then click the link below for a free 20-minute strategy call with a qualified and experienced interview coaching professional.